Japan's Prime Minister pledging to deliver on her promises after an historic win by a Liberal Democratic Party at Sunday's polls. The LDP securing 316 seats, while coalition partner, the Japan Innovation Party, won 36. Now, that gives the ruling bloc 352 of the 465 seats in the chamber. That's a two-thirds supermajority, and this gives Ms Takaichi's government the power to override the upper house and push for constitutional amendments. In her first news conference since that win on Sunday, Ms Takaichi pledged to cut a sales tax on food and solidify and mend international ties while boosting defenses.
戦略3文書を前倒しで改定し、安全保障政策を抜本的に強化します。自らの国を自らの手で守る。その覚悟なき国を誰も助けてくれはしません。我が国の平和と独立、領土、領海、領空、そして国民の皆様の命と安全を守り抜いてまいります。挑戦しない国に未来はあります。
Ms Takaichi says she's open to dialogue with China after a row with Beijing that started last November over comments she made in Parliament on Taiwan. China, meanwhile, has responded. It says policy towards Tokyo is unchanged and has warned that any reckless action will be met with what it's called a resolute response. Well, Mayu Yoshida covers this story for CNA Live from Tokyo. Mayu, what else did Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi say in this first press conference since that election win?
Thanks for having me. Well, in her press conference, Prime Minister Takaichi repeatedly used phrases like taking on new actions, taking action, and building a stronger Japan. And this really resonated with Japanese voters who were looking for a decisive leadership, especially after many Japanese prime ministers left the office in about a year. At the same time, she also made it clear that there's no time for her party to dwell on that landslide victory. Now, there's two voting systems in Japan, and one of them is called the proportional representation vote, where voters choose a candidate rather than an individual voters choose a party rather than an individual candidate. And in that system, the Liberal Democratic Party secured roughly 38% of the vote. And that's definitely higher than the previous election, and that's the largest share among all parties. But it also means that about 60% of the voters chose other parties in that system. So the support for the LDP is really strong, but of course it's not universal. Now, Takaichi appeared to acknowledge some of those concerns around her controversial pledges. For example, her proposals for aggressive government spending and cutting the consumption tax on food have raised questions about Japan's fiscal outlook. So in her press conference, she admitted that more work needs to be done around funding. She also proposed forming a cross-party national council to draft more detailed plans by around the summertime. Another sensitive issue is her plan to revise the Japan's pacifist constitution in response to rising regional tensions. And on that issue, she said she would try to create the right conditions for a national referendum as soon as possible. Now, on China, she struck a more measured tone. She said that she will respond to China in a calm and measured way, keeping Japan's national interests firmly in mind. So it's a bit difficult to read her intentions. But remember, China is Japan's largest trading partner and imposed trade restrictions and travel limits after Takaichi's earlier comments on Taiwan sparked backlash from Beijing. But overall, despite those challenges ahead, she appears to be confident and ready to move forward with her agenda with a very strong mandate at home.
Oh, thanks. Mayu Yoshida for CNA from Tokyo on Sanae Takaichi's first press conference since election wins on Sunday.